Welcome to the Adventure to Evolve podcast, your conscious playground. Here, we explore leadership strategies to lead the most incredible adventure of your lifetime, your story. I'm Talia Starwood, your host and ex-corporate sales leader turned podcast host, keynote speaker, and entrepreneur. Using leadership strategies, I'm guiding you to lead all the awkward, uncomfortable, heart-beating, palm sweating experiences that serve your growth and make your 80-year-old self proud without the corporate jargon. In this chapter of your life, what experiences are calling you to explore every layer of who you are? If that is your truth, I triple dog dare you to dive in, guided by the wisdom of your divine essence. If you like what you hear and want to go deeper into your adventure, join our online course at goflipthescript.com.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Cha'Lea here. Today, we're going to dive deep into the human experience, exploring the wisdom and the authenticity of our unique life stories and where the magic of it can take us. We're going to get real about the struggle of honoring our personal seasons amidst the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Have you ever found yourself in a room full of people who are thriving, producing, and in full bloom, while you feel like you're in the depths of winter, needing rest, reflection, and a slower pace of life? It's a vulnerable place to be. But what if I told you that this winter season is just as valuable and necessary as any summer of productivity that we may have? In today's episode, we have our guest expert, Talia Starwood, who is going to be helping us peel back the layers of societal expectations and exploring how to show up in our authenticity when we're not in a season of full harvest. And sometimes to help us figure out what that looks like, we can just look outside to nature and the rituals that nature offers to ground and to rejuvenate us. So let's talk about the art of holding space for ourselves, the power of presence, and the courage that it takes to honor where we are, even when it's not in that summer of full productivity and hustle and bustle. Talia, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy that you're here with us.
Thank you for having me. You're welcome. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm really excited about this conversation. What a beautiful introduction. Yeah.
Talia and I have had a lot of great conversations grounding in this topic and really picking apart the different layers that it takes. Talia, before we give your official bio, I want to give our audience a little backgrounder of some of the conversations that we've had. Talia created a space where it was easy for me to connect with her and to share with her how in this moment in my business and where I'm at, it's been a bit more of a winter and fall season for me. And in the spaces that I'm showing up, especially in entrepreneurship and in our careers, you show up in spaces where it's all about productivity and goals and hustle. And it's a beautiful place to be when it's in alignment with where you naturally are inside in the season of life and the chapters of what's unfolding in your own story. But sometimes it's hard to say, you know what? I have nothing going on right now. I'm really spending time on reflection. I've actually put a pause on many things to really understand what it is that I want and what the universe is trying to show me. And in that, we had beautiful conversations that we're going to share tidbits of that with you today. Talia, instead of asking you about your bio and your official title, what I want to do is create a little bit more intention about who we are and the vastness of the entirety of our humanness. So in this chapter of life, what's most important to you?
What's most important to me is staying in alignment with my highest self. I'm kind of in this process of claiming my wisdom years, which is not really encouraged in our culture, and still being free and fun and relevant and sexy and all the things. Like you can be in your wisdom years and still be vibrant, right? And so that's really important to me. And being in nature is a really important thing. I find that balances me out. And just the love of friends and family and all of that.
Oh, beautiful. Now let's get into your official title. Do you mind giving us a short bio about who are you today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a transformation and leadership coach and a life strategist and energetic alchemist. And what that means is, there's lots of coaches out there that do all kinds of amazing stuff, and lots of them are my friends and I love them all. But what makes me different is that the transformation piece is real. Like you begin here and you're here at the end, right? And there's a process, a proprietary process that I've created that's really helps one to transform into their optimum self, into what they're really reaching and searching for. And a real big piece of that is going from self-doubt, releasing self-doubt, realizing your magic, and refining your leadership. That self-doubt is such an integral part of all the women I talk to, all the people I talk to, really, at one point or another. And so really developing that self-trust. So that's the energetic alchemy part, is that we're all energy, right? We're all energy. We're emotional beings. Understanding and really claiming our energy and our emotions, looking at them as assets instead of liabilities, really stepping into them rather than hiding from them or denying them. And, I help identify those energies. It's kind of like a energetic weather report. I'm a weather person, weatherman, weatherwoman. And like claiming it, naming it, and then really transmuting that and being like, okay, well, it feels cloudy in there today. Where's the sun? What do you need? And that's another really important piece of my work, is differentiating between needs and feelings, really becoming emotionally literate and being able to ask for what we need and claiming that for ourselves.
I find that going back to looking at the different cycles that we go through as humans, that we're not always in this place of full productivity and harvest. Each are valuable and beautiful in their own way if we're willing to ground ourselves in the presence of its magic. But sometimes we need someone to guide us through each of those cycles and to help us see the transition and the gift that it can unfold for us. I'm excited to get into what those cycles mean after we get through our fire away questions, because I want to help the audience get to know you a little bit better. Shall we fire away?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
What is something that you're curious about right now?
I'm curious about, that's a great question. I love that word, by the way, curious and wonder. I love both those words. I'm curious about ways to heal the divisions that are in our world right now, especially in our country. And by really dropping in and claiming our divine being, when we really claim that for ourselves, in ourselves, we start to see the world in a different way. And I'm really curious about different ways to do that and differences, really. I really love talking to people that are different than me, because then I learn and I get to experience the spectrum of humanity in a different way.
What do you understand today about your life that you did not understand a year ago?
That's a hard one. It's simple, but it's deep. It's that transformation and healing take time.
Ooh, yes.
It just takes time. And each year, is a different year. I have been healing from a physical thing and emotional thing. And so it takes time. I always think it's going to be, especially since I work with people and I'm helping them and they're getting great progress. And I'm like, that they're not you. You need to take time for yourself. It takes time. Yeah.
What is your biggest day-to-day challenge?
Probably structure. I'm such a creative being, and I do lots of great things. And when I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants, creativity wise, and a little bit ADD as well. So it's great when I have that unstructured time, and then the structured time really helps me as well. But I need to balance that. So balance, I guess. Yeah.
Complete this thought. I wish I had paid more attention
when I discovered my my gifts, my clairsentience, clairaudience and that I had really allowed my creativity to blossom as a kid and as a teen.
What experience are you currently seeking to challenge yourself so that you can experience growth?
Well, honestly, that's speaking on more stages, sharing my message more broadly and over and just developing that more and more because it's such a passion and I now know a purpose in my life. So the more I get to do that, the better.
Okay, so imagine that your 109-year-old self had access to a time machine and they jump into this time machine and arrive at this very moment. What advice would they give you?
Good. You have everything you need. You have everything you need to make impact, to grow, to discover, to learn, to experience and love life, and just stop seeking and start being.
At the root of our conversation that we have been talking about has been this idea, how can we cultivate this mindset and these values that respect the natural ebb and flow of our own personal cycles and truly convince our soul within, as what you just said, that we have everything we need in this moment, but to also be able to see the season of life that we're in and create rituals to help us fully integrate what it is trying to show us so that we can move through each cycle. So when you think about the seasons of life that we find ourselves in, what does that mean to you and how has it showed up in your life?
The seasons of life it's so important to, there's such a richness that comes and a wisdom, a harmony that comes from really working in concert with nature because we're part of this earth, that she's a living being, right?
Yeah.
And so I found actually the blessings of that by living in the pain of being disconnected, for long periods of time, right? And so I live out in Colorado now. There's lots of nature around me. But I'm from DC. I'm from the East Coast, and going in the little train, which is a steel box, or in your car, which is a steel box, into a building, which is a steel box. And there's AC going certainly in July in DC or whatever the season is. It's climate controlled, right? So it's always the same temperature. And unless you look out the window, and maybe you don't even have a window, you could be in one of those cubicles that doesn't have a window. You have no relation to the outside. You have no connection to it. So of course that's going to affect our productivity and our creativity for certain, and our innovation for certain, and our just well-being. So I think the importance, or I can't remember the question now, but the importance of claiming those 4 seasons is that it helps you to heal and grow and be in harmony.
One of the things that I have found when we think about those seasons of life, the different cycles that we go through, I see it like nature, right? There's spring, summer, fall, winter. Each season has its own unique purpose for our growth. And spring is like this new beginning that we see, the potential of what's ahead. Summer is about productivity and abundance. Fall is a time for harvest and reflection. And winter is time for rest and to really take that moment to allow things to completely die so that new soil can emerge and so that we can have the kind of harvest that we want. And when I think about that, I think about the societal pressures that make it hard for us to accept that we have multiple cycles that we function. And I say this as a chronic high achiever. I was rewarded from being a high achiever. The more I did, the more I received. And so it was this false signal of success because as I thought that I was achieving more and I was experiencing success, eventually it led me to burnout. Eventually it led me to an autoimmune disease where my body said no more. No matter how much you think up here things are working out, it is not working out. There is something that you are not listening to, something that you are not attuning, you are not in alignment, but yet to society's norms, or the ones that I chose to accept for myself too, because I hadn't questioned that kind of conditioning that I had in myself, I was doing good. And so eventually I thought about this, and I thought about gardening. And I know we were talking about this, and the other day we have tomatoes growing in our garden, and I want to produce better yield of these tomatoes. I was going through TikTok to learn how to produce better yield for these tomatoes. And one thing that I found is that you have to cut off excess growth. They're called suckers, certain parts of the plant that take up too much energy and don't allow the plant to focus on producing better yield. You can do more tomatoes, but you won't have better quality tomatoes. And so it's like, for me, I was producing a lot of tomatoes, but the quality of my tomatoes were not good, because at the end of the day, I was burnt out. At the end of the day, I had developed an autoimmune disease. At the end of the day, I didn't learn how to listen to my body when it said, hey, maybe we're going into fall, and there is an equal reward if you allow yourself to slow down, even though you believe slowing down, maybe perhaps attached to limited beliefs, means that you aren't doing well enough. And that comes from another place and another place and another place. And when we get to the root of it, it's not giving us grounded energy. So it's difficult for us to even, one, notice the cycle that we're in and not give so much emphasis to just summer, but to be able to know how to transition into each cycle. And each cycle could change in a matter of a week. I could be completely in summer today, and tomorrow I feel like fall is coming, and I need some reflection. And so I find that throughout this journey, there's been different rituals that have allowed me to accept and resist less that transition into them. And whether it's going outside and grounding in nature and allowing myself to align myself with the reflection period of fall and to really take it in. Have you found that there are similar rituals that have helped you throughout your journey for each of these seasons, these cycles of growth and reset?
Beautiful question. I love it. And I guess the question that I would ask, and maybe put this on your mirror or on your dashboard or wherever you see it quite often, is how do you feel? Right? We have this habit of being concerned with what we're doing, like the to-do list, but how do I feel? That's the entry point. That's the indicator into this whole experience, right? So, listening to our body, taking pause, doing, there's lots of different breath activities that you can do. I can even do one of those with you if you want. But the breathing, the listening, the tuning in is such an important practice. And that's a real entry point into whatever ritual you'll do. Right. And so once you really take a moment to breathe and to connect, then what am I needing? What do I need in this moment? And that's another we could do lots of hours on that.
Yeah.
So really, what do I need in this moment? And perhaps it's rest, or perhaps it's a walk in nature, or talking to a friend, just knowing that you're okay. And perhaps reading something inspirational, whatever it is, listen to that. And then from there, you can start to really go deeper into, how can I get into harmony with nature, with what exists? So you were speaking to that going inward, maybe being in a fall or a winter aspect when it's summer. And that's okay. Taking a moment to really, or a day even, or, going and sitting by a lake or under a tree, or, those kinds of things, and really taking that time to journal, to listen, to reflect, so that, and what happens when that happens is an inspiration will come. I get all my best ideas. I mean, I get some in the shower and driving, but my best ideas are when I'm on the trail, out hiking and in nature. And so, what will come is if you do that practice in nature, you will get answers. You'll get some inner wisdom, some intuitive thoughts that come and just allow you to come back into balance, right? Into the cycle. And it's really important when you get those to listen to them and act on them.
Let's go into some personal experiences that you've had around that, because I know that you've seen the heart of the pain of this issue to understand the wisdom of why you need to pause and reflect, why you need to allow time for winter, for things to die, for us to be born yet again every day new, to be able to create something from wherever it is that the rhythm of our story is telling us. Where have you learned these lessons throughout your life? And where did you resist them, more importantly?
That is a big question that could take hours, but I will try to be concise. I guess the first thing I want to say is if we go back chronologically, I was a drug addict and alcoholic. And so I did that. I think now that clarity is a lot more clear than back then. Because I was a real sensitive kid. I had these gifts and I saw the world in a different way than other people. I didn't get that at the time. So I tried really hard to fit in. And I think that's, right now in our culture, we have this disease of fitting in instead of belonging. And that's something that Brene Brown always talks about, the difference between fitting in and belonging, And so, the journey of that was learning how to belong with myself, to myself. And so I started off in 12 steps and Alcoholics Anonymous and got sober. And that was in my early 20s. And so that was in February of 91. So by the time spring came around, for the first time, I think in my life, I saw the forsythia and I saw the rhododendrons and I saw the daffodils and all these things that happen. I never noticed them before, right? I mean, what is blooming? That's a really good connection point as well. What is blooming where you live right now? That's a connection point, right? And so that was the foundation, my spiritual foundation, that allowed me to really begin to discover all these other spiritual paths and really get into some other paths that really helped. So I studied with a disciple of Thich Nhat Hanh for many years, and I got into this esoteric mystery school for many years, and so
fun.
Lots of things that supported and grew my connection and my connection points to nature and to being and to my spiritual nature as well. And so then, in 2021, I had a near-death experience. I fell and had a seizure and burned my arm and had a brain injury. And so trying to get back into harmony as this new being, right? As this, like I said, transformation and healing takes time, right? Yeah. So being intentional with how I wanted to go through that and come out the other side. And I was intentional, and not everybody can do that when you're in great pain. But I found that being in great pain is a great motivator.
Yes.
And so just keep going. And where do you want to be? And visualizing and using my tools and using my, my affirmations and my support system and, tuning in right? And there were certainly times during that process where I had to tune out because I was in pain. So Netflix was my friend, just doing what I could do in the moment. And sometimes, and that changes from moment to moment and day to day. So yeah, just being, I find that the growth, like you're talking about, that comes from really being in the moment and recognizing, what do I need right now? Where am I right now? Not worried about where I was yesterday. I was in much more pain yesterday, or I hope I'm out of pain tomorrow. Just being right here. No, this is okay. You can do this.
Why is being right here so hard? To get there, but to not try to escape it. It kind of feels like if we could reach a place of a grounded state, an integrated state, then we could truly live, because it's not the idea of how long we live, but the quality of our lives, that we are fully embodied with every aspect of who we truly are, not our conditioned self. And not the self that comes from an untempered ego. The ego will always be there, part of our journey, but we have to temper that. And learning how to create presence and grounded energy has been by far the adventure of my life. And I've learned and gone into the deeper states of what has unraveled for me through the medicine of what is every day. Yeah. Every day is showing me what it looks like, what it means, where I am still shackled to conditioning, where my ego still shows up, where I'm still in the future or reminiscing on the past, and how to bring myself back home each time. It's difficult. It's difficult to come into that present state. And I think, as you were saying, a big part of it is just noticing first that there are many cycles that we live through. And being able to strengthen the ability to recognize, this is where I find myself right now in life. How do I honor that? And then more so, how do I honor others who are also coming into these spaces, and being able to recognize that they too may be in a season of winter or fall or spring, and learning how to create alignment around that.
Yes, I love all of that. First, I want to go back to now. Why is it so hard to be in the now? I certainly don't have an answer for you, for anyone, but I have an answer for me, right? And that answer is, there's been so many books written about this. I mean, Eckhart Tolle's Information is amazing. Michael Singer is another one. Ram Dass. So we find it hard to be in the moment. I find it hard to be in the moment when I'm focused outward and have a running narrative about the past or the future, right? That running narrative, our thoughts become things, right? I'm a infinite possibilities instructor as well. So thoughts become things. If we focus on the past, we're going to create more of that. And that keeps us from being where I always tell my people, look at your feet, look at your feet, look at your feet. That's a tool as well. Be where your feet are. And, and just see that, taking that pause to tune in, and where am I now? Where am I now? Am I right here? Because rarely is the present moment intolerable. What makes it intolerable is thinking about a past moment where we've had trauma or struggle, or fear of a future moment where that will happen. But right now, and I'm not minimizing those moments. There are hard moments in life. There are traumatic, terrifying, awful moments in life, for sure. But they don't last the whole life.
Yes.
So if we claim where we are right now, then we can be in harmony with the seasons, and we can be in harmony with what we need. And, sometimes we get so enmeshed in our old beliefs that no longer serve us, that we can't see the possibilities of the future. I mean, lots of the work I do is around kind of unpacking, releasing those limiting beliefs that keep us from really expanding into the beauty and the dream that we haven't allowed ourselves to dream yet.
I can say that if I look at the different chapters of my life and the evolvement that I've had, the times where I've been stuck, and I know times are still to come that I haven't experienced yet that will be part of the reality of this human experience. We're constantly evolving. Like my hair is just not sitting in place where I want it to right now. And okay.
It looks beautiful.
One of the things that I've learned in the evolving chapters of my life, where I've seen that I've been able to hold presence and integrate in areas where I've resisted, where I've suppressed, where I've numbed, the mind will like to contrast. It will say, well, it's not as bad as that was, so therefore I must be doing better. But the reality is that the theme is still the same. Forget the details of the story. The theme is still the same. We are abandoning ourselves when we are not in presence. And that is a pain that I feel in the core of my soul, that I do not want to abandon myself in this experience. I want to be with myself in all aspects and to be able to integrate the journey and whatever life is showing me. But I have found that what has helped me to do that better as I practice that more in my life has been integrating different rituals that help me ease into it. If not, my brain can go and go and go and ruminate on topics until no end, or I'll start to work harder. And I think that that's how I distract myself, right? If I work a little harder and I go more into the work, I can ignore that thought behind me that isn't allowing me to go sit outside, to take the sun in, to reflect on what it is that is trying to come to me. And those rituals have been such a key part to helping me initiate the wisdom that wants to come to me, to helping me challenge my comfort zone, to helping me then lead my story authentically. I notice when I have less rituals in the day, how much easier it is to slip into old patterns. You revert, right? You're either reverting or you're evolving, and it's okay to revert. What we want to do is to be able to catch ourselves sooner, to be able to notice and go, hi, friend. Let's step into that room together. Let's hold this space together. And then let's come out of it and be able to move forward in whatever direction or stay in the direction in which we are in. Have you found that to be a commonality in your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love what you shared. Yes, you all can tell I like talking to Cha'Lea. Yes. This is all good. One thing I want to say is, the part about abandoning yourself. So we live in this culture that is transactional. And if I do this, I get this. If I do this, I get this, right? So we start that. I was in kindergarten at 5 years old, right? So you start that by getting those check marks and those smiley faces and the stars, right? If I do this, I get good things. Okay. So this life is about doing. Okay. We don't ever talk about being, like we ask, who do you want to be?
Yes.
Right? Oh, a fireman, a policeman, or whatever it is. I wanted to be an actress, but most importantly, I wanted to be myself, but I didn't know how to say that at the time, right? It wasn't until decades later that I understood that was that's the answer to that question. I want to be myself because I'm awesome, right?
Yeah.
So to you said this before as well, that burnout and that achiever, right? You get these things, you get out of school and you get into college, more of that. What's my GPA? What scholarships am I getting? What things am I getting by all this stuff that I'm doing? Right. And then you get into the work life and the corporate world, and what am I getting? Am I getting a promotion? Am I getting accolades? What am I getting here? Right? Am I getting a bumped up salary? What am I getting? And we're taught that those are the success and the achievements of life, and that those are the most important thing, right? Ask anybody that's got all those things. They'll tell you no. These things are good, but I want peace. I want harmony. I want to feel like I matter. I want to feel like I belong. I want to feel like there's a connection between my legacy and the ripple in the world that I'll create.
Yes.
Right? The longer that we live, the more it's like, I want to know that my voice matters and I've made a contribution here that's last, right? And no amount, I want to be loved, right? I want to be cherished and valued. And no amount of check marks or smiley faces or GPAs or promotions or any of that brings that outcome. It just doesn't. And when we recognize, just to your point of what you're saying, that it's going to create something, it's going to mean something. It's going to take something. It's going to take a commitment to identify some rituals, to identify a pattern, a practice, to allow me to feel that in myself so that I'm not looking at it out here anymore. I call that the all conditional life, that whatever the conditions are out here, I'm good. I'm good because I've taken this time for myself. And so the thing that I recommend highly, I've done this and lots of the clients I have do this, is have a space in your home. Create a sacred space in your home. I have an altar and a pillow and all my fun things there. I have lots of pictures of things and tchotchkes of things that are important to me, crystals. But if you're not into that, that's fine. Use a chair. Right now, if it can be a chair outside, even better. But, or a pillow somewhere, or just one little corner of your home that is just for you, that your kids don't go into, that your partner doesn't go into, that nobody interferes with, right? Maybe your cat or your dog will sit in it. It's hard to keep them out because they love that high energy, actually. But it's just for you.
Yes.
And that space is the foundation of your rituals, right? So you can have your morning ritual where you, it's up to you what feels really good to you, but connect in, is it prayer? Is it reading? Is it writing? Is it just meditating and being? And you'll know what feels really good to you. And so that practice, that ritual, is a really great entry point at the beginning of a day. So important. And I always say tune in with yourself before you tune in with other people, before you look at text, before you look at your phone and do anything, tune in with yourself first. Put that cell phone in another place. Your iPad, put it outside of your room so that the first thing you do when you get up is go and sit in your sacred space and really tune into yourself first. Give yourself that 10 minutes. You're worth it, right? Your time is so sacred. Use some of it, spend some of it on with you before you jump in and start taking all that time to answer whatever the world wants from you. What do you want from you first, right? What do you want to create in this day? And then once you start doing that, once I started doing that, then I could begin to notice the cycles of the moon and the cycles of the sun and the cycles of the year. And there's certainly rituals around those things as well, which I'm happy to share.
There's so much to unpack there, because what is exciting about it is really getting to experiment, to create our own incubator of understanding ourselves. And I can say this for myself, when I started down this path of going deeper into understanding and letting go of the resistance to what it felt like. Because to be honest, stepping into that for me in the beginning, some things were easier than others. It was hard. Meditating, turning off my brain, I could hear all the concepts of why I should, and intellectually I knew, but my body was not letting go. My soul had not accepted it yet. Those beliefs were still running the program. And ultimately what I had to do in allowing myself to just be curious to experiment as opposed to, did that feel perfect at the end? Was that the outcome? Because sometimes it wasn't the outcome. It was the fact that I was willing to experiment, to allow myself to flow through the different aspects and to wait for the multitude of opportunities that could present themselves and the way in which they would, that would eventually bring me to where I needed to be. And through that, I was connected through breath work. And I realized that starting with breath work for me first helped me quiet my mind down, gave me that instant satisfaction of, oh, I feel that. It gave me something to do to where then I could build traction through meditation, because meditation, doing it for 5 minutes was a long time for me. So I started off with a few seconds and then a few minutes into where it felt authentic to me, being open to the different ways that it would come in. And through that curiosity to flow with the allowing multitude of possibilities to exist, I have found little tidbits of more and more things that have connected me deeper to myself, where I can now increase the amount of times that I can be in the stillness of myself and hear the clarity of my highest self, of my entirety of my soul. And sometimes I can't. Sometimes I sit there and I fidget and I'm like, this is not working. And I allow that to be, and I go back into it again. And it's okay for it to not look a certain way, for the outcomes to play with you as much as you play with it, and to be patient, and how it's supposed to unravel for you will unravel for you. And to be in the curiosity and the play of it too, because it's so easy sometimes, I know, especially for myself, to take it so serious, to read all the research, to listen to all the experts, and then to just sit there kind of just twiddling my thumb saying, why isn't this magic happening?
I love it. Play is such an essential part of our being, and we forget to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we think play is for children. Play is not for children. It's for connecting into that joy and enlivening those parts of ourselves that are really so important and necessary. So I love to play around with different, like I said, I love crystals. So anything that rocks, feeling into that. You know, if you're not tuned or in practice of feeling, one thing you can do is rub your hands together really fast for a few minutes. And then when you take them apart, just feel the energy there. What does that feel like? It feels different, right? And so taking time to feel ourselves, and then, you know, pick up an amethyst, pick up a rose quartz, pick up a malachite, and just play around with that. What does that feel like?
Yes.
When you're out in nature, like go for a walk, and feel the different grasses and feel the tree. You don't have to be a tree hugger like me to get in tune with nature. You can go out and just stand under the tree and feel where I am, how an aspen feels different than a pine tree, than a fir tree, or you have magnolias down where you are, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The magnolias have a whole different energy and scent, and they're amazing. And so wherever you are, just kind of get in tune with, by playing, by having fun, and going and standing in a creek. You know, go stand in the river if you can. And what does that feel like? You know, you can pull some dandelions or some flowers that are near you and make a little crown for yourself, you know, have fun with it.
I love that, because what we discover is the difference that we can feel inside of us, what it means to create our stories from a place of abundance versus from a place of fear and scarcity. There is a difference. Along that path, we will have false signals of success. We will have so many cognitive biases that arise that tell us we're doing right when our body is telling us no. And there is something else that is wanting to unfold, to unravel for us, but we have to trust the flow of that. That takes time and patience, but being able to notice that you are a cycle of many seasons in your being. And there is a time and a place to honor each and every one of them, and rituals that can help you tune in to the fullness, the vastness of what you are, so that you can focus on that adventure to make your 80-year-old self proud. So that when you get to the end of your rainbow, that on your deathbed, you can be proud of everything that you experienced here and the memories that will be with you. And so with that, Talia, I thank you so much for taking time to explore this concept with us, to go in deeper. And I'm sure there's going to be a part 2 as our brains get rattling after the conversation. There is no easy way to wrap up these big concepts in this short amount of time. But if there is any takeaway from what we have said, what would be your takeaway for our audience?
Pause. Take time to pause. Step out your door. There's a great book by Richard Love, The Nature Principle. Read it if you have a chance. And he talks about the balance, the EMFs that come from these things. We're sitting in front of them all day. To take equal time if you can. That's, I know, impossible, because if you're in front of this 8 hours, you can't be outside for 8 hours. But be outside. Yeah. Take a few minutes, 5 minutes every hour. Or on your breaks, on your lunch break, get outside and tune in and feel. It will reduce stress. It will bring you more into harmony, and you'll discover your value in the universe, in nature.
Yes.
And if I could do anything to help you, it would be to never doubt yourselves again, that you're important on this earth. And, I just want you to feel that every day. And the way I feel it is in nature. And I hope you can as well.
Okay, let's get into some actionable insights. You've heard us talk about so many different cycles of life that we can find ourselves in. And you may be wondering, which one am I in? And when I discover where I am, how do I bring myself back into alignment? What is a ritual that I can do from the multitude of different toolboxes that are out there? We want to hear from you based on your perspective, your life's work. What is a ritual that you found has really helped integrate all aspects of who you are and what needs to unravel for you?
Wonderful question. One of the things that I do is tune into the moon, because you can do that no matter the season, and really know where you are. So the full moon is a time of expansion and creativity. It's kind of the manifestation aspect of the month. And so it's a good time for clearing. It's a good time for celebrating. It's a good time for just appreciating where you've come to. And if you haven't met your intentions, to really take time to reimagine them. So one way to do that is to take a glass of water and take a piece of paper, write down what you're clearing out, what you want to get rid of, maybe if your intentions didn't go as you wanted them to kind of write, I release doubt, or whatever it is that you want to release. And you can take that piece of paper that you wrote on and put it around the glass, tape it, put it on a windowsill for the full moon. And then in the morning, dump out that water, and you can burn the piece of paper if you like. That's a really, rituals allow us to externalize, practice what's happening internally, right? So you want to release something, physically release it. It helps. And then new moon energy is for intention and new ideas, new insights, right? So you can do a similar thing where you write down your intentions for the month, and then you can put it around the glass and put it out on a windowsill for the new moon, and drink that water in the morning. And so those are fun rituals. Really, at the new moon, I always like to sit where I can see the stars, either outside during the summertime or near a window where I can see the stars, and just ask, what what does the universe want to experience through me this month or today? That's a great question to ask yourself when you're intending.
That's beautiful. What is the concept behind that? Is there energy work that's happening there? I know we're energy. Everything is energy, but tell me a little bit more about the concept there.
Right. So there's a relationship between the moon and the water on our earth, right? We know that it pulls the tides. We are, I think, 70, 80% water. We got a lot of water within us. And you can feel that when you're dehydrated as well, you know? And so make sure to drink lots of water. That's important. You can even, that's another ritual that's really easy to do. If you have a water container, to put words around the water. We know that from Emoto's work about the frequency of the water and the crystals and how they behave differently when we put intentions in them. And so becoming in tune with the moon allows one to feel the power. There's so much power around us. The power of the sun, the power of the moon. We could talk a lot about astrology and the ways the stars are affecting us as well. We have this, entry point into the earth on a particular day at a particular time at a particular longitude and latitude. That's not an accident. Those are important aspects. That's our address, right? Yes. Our spiritual address that we come into the world in with. And so, recognizing how the energies affect us is a powerful tool. It's really coming into your power.
Oh, I love that. I know you mentioned a breathing exercise. I don't know how you are on time, but is that something we could do too?
This is a breathing exercise that resets the vagus nerve. So it allows you to get present and get into a more harmony and relaxation. It's really good for stress. So I always like to close my eyes when I breathe, just to tune in if you'd like. If you'd like to do that. And let's take a breath in. And as you're breathing, we're going to count to 5. So breathe into the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hold that breath for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then exhale to the count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding. And exhaling. Breathe in. Hold. And exhale.
Beautiful. Thank you for giving us some of your grounded energy today. And how can our audience learn more about your work and get in contact with you?
My email is talia.starwood@gmail.com. And you have the link to my website, so you can put that in the notes as well. And and there's always more opportunities to connect. And I'm having a wonderful camping retreat in Utah for the equinox. And I'll do more things online as well. So I would love to connect in with you. And, just take time, get on my schedule. I think I gave you my Calendly link as well. Yes. I'd love to have a conversation with any of your audience to really discover your gold and discover where you are in the seasons and how I can help you to get in alignment.
Thank you so much, Talia. What you have shared today has really resonated with me, and I know it's going to resonate out there with one of our audience members, even if it's just one. We did our work and exploring this adventure to evolve. To our listeners, the ball is in your court. I triple dog dare you to challenge your comfort zone so that you can find the wisdom to lead your authentic story throughout the Pinterest versus reality moments of making your 80-year-old self proud. You are listening to The Adventure to Evolve. We'll see you on our next episode. If you found even the smallest nugget of wisdom in this episode, share it with a friend and your friend will thank you. Let's continue the conversation with like-minded leaders and join us on Facebook at Go Flip the Script. Until next time, I challenge you to incorporate what you learned today to evolve your leadership impact.